Hello, my name is Paige Gilbranson, and I'm here today to talk about all of the different communication systems for people with special needs to use. As we know, one of the challenges of autism is communication and having people successfully communicate with others what they need and what they want, and just in general. There are several different types of communication devices. They're called AAC, which is augmentative and alternative communication devices. They're also called voice output communicative aids. This is the ones that are on different apps or different devices, tablets that actually generate a voice that can speak for the person. This is different from like a textbook where you give a picture to get something. This actually has a voice. So one of the coolest features about this is it actually gives the children that are using these devices a voice, so that they can communicate with everybody, not just their parents, not just people who know how to use the device, but really anybody they can communicate with. So it's a voice output communicative aid, which also stands VOCA. There are several different types of these apps or devices. To name a few, there is Proloquo to Go, there is Touch Chat, and a LAMP app, which I have personally had experience with all three of these. The difference in the different apps are there's different layouts, there's different ways that a person can change the setup of the device. You can change how many buttons are on each page, you can change the navigation. There are some, like I know the LAMP is helpful for motor planning if the child needs more help with motor planning, and really they're very easy to change so that it can fit each person specifically, which is definitely one of the pros. Another pro is that you can change the voice of each of the different applications. So you can have a child's voice, and you can really have a voice that grows with them. It also allows for the voice to be natural sounding as much as possible, so that the child can be integrated into general society as much as they possibly can, which is really cool to actually give these children a voice. You can also have longer sentences, where some of the limitations of the other different types of communication devices, such as PEX, which is the picture exchange system, where you are giving a picture of the item in exchange for the actual item. It's a much simpler method, whereas with the different apps you can use, such as Proloquo to Go, which I will be demonstrating shortly, you can actually create sentences, and that way you can have a dialogue with somebody, you can comment on things, you can answer questions, you can ask questions. It just gives way more variety and way more freedom for the children, so that they're able to really become independent and be able to communicate with others, which is so important. Kids and people can just have more of a conversation, and that is just, which is so cool to be able to really talk to other people and feel like they're able to have more of a say in daily life. There are some cons, as with anything. One of the major cons that I have personally experienced in my usage, and I work in an autism therapy center, so we experience AAC devices all the time. One of our main issues we have is the device actually, something happening with the device itself, like it breaks, the app malfunctions, the screen cracks. Sometimes kids, especially some of the ones at my center, are a little hard on the electronics, and they get thrown or dropped or spilled on. So sometimes that the actual technology does not work, or sometimes just things happen and the communication technology itself fails. Also, I have had experience with, we'll be out in a community setting and the iPad will just die. It just runs out of battery. It's hard sometimes to keep, especially when you're using it so often. It's hard to keep the charge for all day usage. So a con is for parents, they would have to bring different charging packs or cords and make sure that they're able to charge their device so that their kids can still have a voice even when the iPad does die. It's also something I have personally experienced is that it can be hard for the kids, especially the younger ones, to carry around all the time. They forget about their iPad and they get so excited from leaving one place to another that they actually will leave their iPad like on the playground or in the kitchen, and then it is an extra step to have to carry it around to be able to communicate. Whereas some of the other devices, like if you use sign language, you always have your hands there so you can communicate, whereas this you have to carry around the iPad. And another con that I have also personally experienced is the training. I'm lucky enough to work at a center where we have multidisciplinary approaches. So we have speech therapists, speech paths working with us to help train us. So that has been very helpful. But I know it is difficult to train. There's a lot of buttons. There's a lot of training that needs to be had. So it can be difficult to, it can take time to train different therapists and parents. And then also after the caretakers are trained, then it's time to train the children, which is really cool. Part of the cons is that you can change, or the pro, sorry, is that you can change up the layout and the amount of buttons. So this particular layout has a lot of buttons, but you can move the screen down to only have like 4 buttons on a page if you need, which is really helpful in training. So then as you train, which it can take some time, but as you train, you can add more buttons and you can add more words, and it really becomes more, children can become more independent because they really have more of a voice. And another con is how expensive it is. I know Proloquo to go, if you buy it from the app, it is, I believe, upwards of about $300 for the application. So it can get expensive, especially when you have to buy an iPad or a tablet to go along with it, or the different independent communicative devices. They can get pricey, especially if a child, I mean, kids are kids. Children can be hard on electronics. So when screens break, when iPads break, something malfunctions, to have to pay to get it either repaired or replaced can also add up and be costly. I'm going to demonstrate now how to use Proloquo to go. So this is the home page. I know it's kind of hard to see. But you can use full sentences, and it's really cool because when you click on like I want, and then you can click into a folder. So there's like little words. So you can say off. So like I want off. Like I know we use this simpler sentence for some of our kids who want to turn the lights on and off. So we can say I want off, or you can change it up and you can do more, like I want give. And then you can say like I feel like there's feelings. You can say I want to give respect. Like that's a more complex sentence. So it's really cool to be able to go in and use more words. And then all you have to do is you click on the buttons, and some of these, it's hard to see, but some of these buttons have folders that you can then go into, like places. So you can say I
want go inside home.
So you can say I want to go inside the house or the home. And you can really have a full sentence, and it's all on the same page. So it's really cool when you click on the folders, it's not that much navigating, which really helps the kiddos not get as frustrated when they're trying to find things. You use the backspace button here, and you can backspace 1. So if you have an error or a mistake, you can just backspace. And then I want to go to the bathroom. And then once you have your full sentence that you want down, you touch the top.
Go bathroom.
And then the voice will say then the full sentence, I want to go bathroom. So then they can show, well, the cool thing is since it's voice output, the therapist or the parents can hear that they're trying to say something. Or I know sometimes it's hard to hear if it's loud or whatever. They can show the parents the top screen, I want to go bathroom. And then they know immediately, yes, we want to go to the bathroom. So it's really easy to use once you have the training. There's so many different buttons. There's so many different folders you can go to. You can describe words like clean, happy. You can describe things. You can describe people. One of the other cool features about the actual app is that you can add to it. So if you would like to add different pictures in here, you just, I know it's hard to see, you just go into the settings and you can take pictures of certain things, so it can be very specific, and then you can put the text in, so you can call it, so say you call, they want a blanket and you call it a blankie. You can actually put blankie in and take a picture of that blankie, so it helps the child to know exactly what you're talking about and make it just a little more personalized. So that is also another easy thing to do with Proloquo to Go specifically. They're able to really customize it, and you can use your own buttons if you want your favorite food in there, and if your favorite food is mac and cheese and maybe they don't have a mac and cheese button in here, you are able to add it in so that the child has exactly what they need all just right at their fingertips. So it's really cool when you actually start using it and you actually see kids who are able to use it functionally, and then they get what they want, and then they can add comments. That's another cool thing about having a voice output communicative aid, is that you can add to conversations. So you can say, like, I feel
angry.
I feel angry.
Afraid.
I feel afraid. You can add things, you can comment on things. It really just gives a lot more conversation skills and conversation aids, and then they can make friends easier, and they can talk to people. They can just communicate all around better, which then hopefully in turn will lead to like a more happy and fulfilled life. Overall, these are great for the voice output communicative aid for a communication system is just great. It's a natural way of speaking, so that a more natural way of speaking, so that the kids can have conversations, they can comment. They're just really able to have a voice, and the pros outweigh the cons so greatly. Obviously, it depends on the kid. It can be a kid-by-kid basis, but overall, Proloquo is definitely, Proloquo and just other voice output apps are just so helpful in using kids and allowing kids to become more independent and use their voice. So yeah, thank you.